Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Uhpurpose here, back at it again with more reaction to random stuff on the internet. Today we have a little thing called "YouTubers Sold Out to Skillshare." The magical website they told you that you could get multiple skills at and could do like photography, graphic design, and editing and stuff on that app. Now people saying that it might be a little easier to be able to sell out. So let's find out what the real honest truth is behind the app and stuff in general. Let's go on with it, shall we?
Skillshare. Skillshare.
Skillshare.
Skillshare, like Skillshare.
YouTubers sold out.
Okay. Sold out.
Basically, every infotainment video on YouTube pitches Skillshare as some sort of godly resource. Do you want to learn how to code? Skillshare. Do you want to learn how to animate?
Skillshare.
Do you want to just learn how to learn? Skillshare.
Bruh.
At this point, Skillshare isn't even seen as a learning platform. It's seen as the thing productive people do. Clearly, Skillshare has
It
done
has a lot
a
of things.
phenomenal job when it comes to branding, marketing, and positioning. But the same cannot be said about the platform itself. Skillshare is not only a mediocre platform, it's a negative platform. And that's not my opinion. That's the overwhelming opinion of everyone who ended up using the platform. On Trustpilot, for example, Skillshare has a horrendous average rating of 1.7 stars, with 32% of reviews being 1-star ratings. And that's
pretty questionable.
despite a massive upward skew from YouTubers. For example, let's say I'm watching Ali Abdal, who is an exceptional YouTuber, and I hear him pitch his Skillshare course. If I go check out his Skillshare course, I'll probably get exactly what I'm looking for, which may lead to a glowing 5-star review. But this isn't really a testament as to how good Skillshare is as a platform. It's really just a review of Ali Abdal or Nathaniel Drew or Marcus Brownlee. If
So
it
just
weren't
people
for
itself.
these select YouTubers, Skillshare's average rating would probably be closer to that of PayPal. Why are people so upset in the first place? Well, aside from a history of slimy sales practices, Skillshare simply doesn't offer the value that YouTubers say it does. At the end of the day, it's really just a worse version of YouTube that costs $32 per month or $168 per year. Instead of getting the monthly subscription, you can get a YouTube Premium family plan for 6 people and have $9 per month to spare.
Hey, 9 months, baby, 9 months.
Or you could get a premium Netflix subscription for 4 people and still have $12 per month to spare. So here's the truth about Skillshare and why it doesn't live up to all the social media hype.
So I'm assuming it's going to be considered like a discount
I think
YouTube.
the biggest
Is it?
complaint about Skillshare is that it's not actually better than YouTube. At best, it's able to match YouTube, and this is true for basically any topic that you want to learn about. Take Swift coding, for example. If you're not familiar with Swift, it's the coding language that you have to use for native iOS development, so it's a pretty relevant skill. Yet, if you search up Swift on Skillshare, you don't get much more than 50 results. And out of these results, only 3 of them are actual courses on Swift that last 30 plus hours. Most of the results are just introduction or feature videos, and the remaining results, well, they often don't even have anything to do with Swift. We have a video about the principles of remote work, a video about organizing your life, a video about captivation marketing,
makes no
and
sense.
a video about Adobe Illustrator. In fact, 26 out of the 54 results didn't have anything to do about Swift or iOS development at all. But at least there's 3 good courses, right? Those alone should be worth a subscription. Well, that's what you might think until you take a look at what YouTube has to offer. Code with Chris alone has 536 videos, all about iOS development, and many of these are over 3 hours long. And his videos don't just teach you how
So
to
the argument is like you're just having a basically discount YouTube where you could get like all information at once, even though I guess compiled exact same way, except for you pay more. You pay more with it, I guess. But that's kind of sad to see. If you have like all these, you have basically all this information that's dumped on you, and it's like half the information not even useful at all. but like certain information is like useful. Does it really make the credibility be worth it in the end run? Probably not.
Write a function or class either. They teach you how to make a feature completely functional from beginning to end, how to make a custom login page using Google Authentication, how to link up your iOS app to a cloud database, how to make API requests to implement external functionality into your apps. Code with Chris's channel literally has more content about Swift than the entirety of Skillshare. And he's just one channel. There's dozens more like iOS Academy. iOS Academy has a total of 703 videos covering everything that Chris covers, but he takes it even one step further. He has these massive series where he builds full-on apps from beginning to end. For example, he's currently making a Rick and Morty app completely from scratch that has a total of 45 parts. This series alone has over 10 hours of content. We also have Sean Allen, Paul Hudson, CodePro, Rebelloper, Let's Build That App, and so many more in just the little niche of Swift. This same argument can be made for learning JavaScript or animation or motion graphics or cooking or basically any skill you can think of. But none of this is really surprising. YouTube is the biggest video hosting platform in the world.
No, no
On
mankind.
Skillshare, there's a total of 30,000 courses. On YouTube, there's 30,000 hours of content being uploaded every single hour. So naturally, YouTube will have the most in-depth, most comprehensive videos on any niche. And ironically, this is true for even the YouTubers that pitch Skillshare. Ali Abdal, for example, has a total of maybe 30 hours of content on Skillshare. Meanwhile, on YouTube, he has hundreds of hours worth of content. We should also note that Skillshare doesn't have any sort of vetting process in terms of who can post content. So basically anyone can post content on Skillshare just like on YouTube, meaning that the content on Skillshare isn't necessarily more credible, valuable, or informative. Meanwhile, there's
AKA
plenty of
just BS.
extraordinarily talented teachers on YouTube itself. Most of the coding channels, for example, are run by former or even current FANG software engineers. So even if we take
Damn.
the cost of Skillshare out of the equation, you're still better off using YouTube.
She
Not
basically
only does
worse
Skillshare
product
lack any sort of
for more
distinguishing
price.
factor,
That's
but YouTube destroys Skillshare in terms of the amount and depth of content.
so essentially it all gets put down to really a worse product for a bigger price. To just less the job than an actual person with a content that actually is focused directly at said niche. Damn. That's pretty sad. That's pretty sad and upsetting. And then since there's no vetting process of who could be uploading, literally any person could be uploading to that point without it necessarily being good or bad. Or even being what's supposed to be, or even getting what you're supposed to be getting, but searching up in general. While YouTube is more, I could just search it 9 out of 10 times. You'll see like a dislike button showing what you're not, what's shown as good versus bad for the most part. Is if you got the little dislike button that Ludwig like has a little plugin for, you can see the dislike button. There's. And if you got what's called, let's see, if you got a way to do like, well, you kind of go just do a follow along with me type of status with YouTube also, depending on person legit making your content and you understanding their own style also, as you, I guess, do it.
Given Skillshare's glowing reputation on YouTube, you would think that they're experts at public relations and branding. And in terms of customer acquisition, they are. But if we take a look at customer experience, it's a whole nother story. Honestly, this is pretty surprising. Though I don't think that Skillshare is worth the money, I would have expected Skillshare to be on the top of their game when it comes to customer satisfaction. But reading through these Trustpilot reviews, that doesn't seem to be the case. You know how YouTubers always pitch Skillshare as this risk-free service? You can just try it for 30 days and cancel with no strings attached. This idea is plastered all over their website as well. But in reality, the trial process isn't what it seems. The
It's even
student, for
free.
example, claims that he was charged for a 1-year subscription after just 2 weeks of trial. At first, Skillshare didn't even reply to any of his messages, But even when they did reply, all they had to say was, "You have 14 days to cancel from the day you sign up." This likely seems confusing at first glance, but when you read the fine print, it all makes sense. Basically, you do indeed get 1 month for free, but you get charged for the following 12-month period before the trial month even ends. This is of course stated in the fine print.
That's so fucked up. So they just bankrupt on everyone basically not doing a read, well, not reading completely what it says, and due to you're trusting a word of a YouTuber, essentially, where they might have, since they're sponsored, they're clearly going to make sure that they're going to say exactly what maybe the brand itself wants, or they might not be able to actually read off the individual wording and writing of exactly what's in the fine print. That's fucked up. So basically, bankruptcy off of people not being competent, well, not checking for the fine print and stuff like that. That's pretty effed up.
Cancel before the trial ends to avoid being charged. But if we're being honest, this is rather misleading. The average user probably hears about Skillshare as this godly learning platform on YouTube that they can try for 1 month completely for free. Then they come to this page and they see all this advertising about this one free month. So they decide to give it a shot only to be charged $168 2 weeks later. And this doesn't seem to be an honest marketing mistake either. Given the number of complaints on Trustpilot itself, I'm sure their help center has been overloaded with confused customers. Yet, they stick to the same slimy sales tactic. Worse, it doesn't seem like they tried to even make
Double
it up to
downing.
customers. Sam, for example, missed the refund window for an annual subscription by just 4 days, and he was refused any sort of refund at all. Even if you do get a refund though, you're not out of the woods just yet, because you could be charged 1 year later. Take Roberta's daughter, for example. 1 year ago, she signed up for a free trial. She too was surprised when she was suddenly charged an annual subscription. Fortunately, though, she was able to contact customer support and get a refund and cancel her membership. But 1 year later, she was charged for a renewal. When she contacted customer support again, they told her that they can't issue a refund because they have a one refund policy which she had already cashed in on. They even sent her a quote from her original email thread showing that they had issued a refund. The funny part was that this quote also contained evidence that she had asked them to cancel 1 year ago. But when this was pointed out to them, they simply stopped replying. All of this is truly quite a shame for a company that's so good at customer acquisition. But this is simply the harsh reality of Skillshare. If all of that wasn't already bad enough, well, it gets even worse.
Okay, how worse could we get?
Skillshare not
Here goes the
only
YouTubers
has
getting called
problematic
out.
content that costs a fortune, but they're also preying on YouTubers' most loyal audience. When it comes to Skillshare, I bet that a significant portion of people who sign up aren't even trying to learn. They simply want to support a creator and see more content from said creator, similar to something like Patreon. But unlike Patreon, most of the subscription fee doesn't even end up going to the creators. Patreon only keeps 5 to 12% of the fees. Skillshare, on the other hand, keeps, wait for it, 7%. This is completely unacceptable when you consider that YouTube itself only takes 45%, and their content is available to end users for free. Meanwhile, Skillshare is charging their users $168 per year, which is again even more than YouTube Premium. Yet they're only sharing 30% of it with the actual creators. Take Teachable,
That
for example.
sucks.
These guys have become the go-to place for hosting courses. And guess what? They have a free plan for creators that supports unlimited students. This does come along with a per sale fee of 10%, but creators can get this per sale fee down to 0 by upgrading tiers. Even Netflix, who people seem to hate, is extremely generous with their revenue sharing. Much of the main Stranger Things cast, for example, was paid $250,000 per episode. If all of these other businesses are able to stay afloat without taking anywhere close to 70% of the revenue,
Why is
there's
it taking
no
it?
reason for Skillshare to be taking 70%. It appears to me that Skillshare figured out that many YouTubers have extremely loyal audiences that are willing to pay up large amounts of money to get more content and theoretically support their favorite creators. Instead of creating a smooth platform to enable such support though, Skillshare has decided to cash in for themselves.
Damn, sad. Pretty sad. You mean
In the end, YouTube is filled with glowing endorsements of Skillshare, but much of this is just due to Skillshare's smart positioning and branding. Behind the scenes, Skillshare doesn't accomplish anything notably great. In fact, they have multiple notable negative attributes. They have pretty shady free trial, renewal, and cancellation policies, and they only share 30% of their revenue with creators. But even putting those attributes aside, the bottom line is that Skillshare just isn't worth it. You're basically getting a discount version of YouTube that you have to pay exorbitant fees for.
what I said
If any
earlier?
other company was offering the same service, they would have gotten shredded by the community. But because Skillshare is such a big player within the sponsorship scene, no YouTuber wants to speak out against them. And audiences are led to believe that Skillshare truly is some sort of exceptional service that's worth the premium price, when in reality, that's just not the case. But that's just what I think. Have you ever used Skillshare? Comment that down below. Also, drop a like if you appreciate the honest take on Skillshare. And of course, consider checking out our Discord community to suggest future video ideas and consider subscribing to see more questions logically answered. But until then, I'm
So let's do like a role review. So one you have based on itself. Start off with a simple based on one. Can you get the information that you're trying to look for on Skillshare somewhere else with less, I guess, money incentive? Yes, since YouTube exists. If it's getting put the exact same thing and you want to get more for your buck, probably go to YouTube since you have more information up for you at once. And it's just, there's 1,000 ways you're going to get the exact same type of person, and same type of knowledge. You'll still get benefits of it. Number two, since it's whole year you go through money. Number two, its branding is pretty much set in solid stone, where if everyone's going to believe it's going to be it's a good product, despite its customer service basically being terrible, and them being super money greedy when it comes to like abusing how our system is with content creation, you giving more sponsorships and stuff to people in general. So it's abusing that fact also. Three, the simple fact of you could cancel your subscription, but yet you still get forced to pay for your subscription that you already canceled, but you can't allow to take your money back because you already quote unquote canceled it. That's a problem also. But that's weird. But if you still want to do Skillshare, it's up to you. Personally, if all of that evidence in mind, and let's say knowing that YouTube has a free marketplace, it's free for the most part. If you just gotta make sure you have internet pretty much access and be around the globe to have access to it. Your best bet, go on YouTube, search it up, search what you're looking for, do step by step of what's getting said, as long as the person is trustworthy. Keyword trustworthy, and is proven to actually be trustworthy in their own niche, in an area. With all that said in mind, have a good time. Give it a little like and subscribe. Bye bye byes.